Story 1. Trying to figure out if girlfriend is still cheating. I'm a male 30 years old. Girlfriend is 28. We've been living together for 3 years. The first year we mutually agreed we weren't exclusive. However, as things developed, we both agreed we would start taking each other seriously and not see other people. I get her a job at my workplace 2 months into this agreement and she starts flirting with a coworker, like near the vicinity of me. I start to get suspicious. One night she says she went out with this man and some of her friends from work. I told her she was certain she had mentioned she has a boyfriend and tried to reiterate our agreement. Before she left, I kissed her and set a boundary that I will be included in this friendship if it is indeed just a friendship, and I will be invited along next time. Long story short, she attempted to hook up with him in the parking lot, got rejected, and then called me and gaslighted me about the situation. She accused me of being too jealous and said nothing happened between them. Well, 2 years later, I see this guy at my workplace and ask him if he ever hooked up with her. And he tells me she tried to, but he didn't because he was in a long-term relationship and felt bad. She tried the same thing with another coworker 3 months later. However, I called her out and brought up all the bad feelings from the past before it evolved into anything. I should mention a few things here. One is that over the last year we have been happy. We have sex 2-4 times a week, calls me 3 times a day, makes me dinner, we laugh a lot, and she incorporates herself in all my hobbies. We have hung out every day over this 2-year period. I caught her lying about where she was 3 or 4 times in this span, and she stated she was lying because I would get angry and accusatory whenever she would go somewhere, and she didn't want to deal with the BS. Twice she showed me picture that proved she wasn't up to nefarious SHT. That truth is, even though she told me she didn't hook up with that guy, I could see her at work flirting with him. My body knew the whole time, which is why I've been on her ass these last couple years. 2 days ago, I was on top on of world, but I have serious abandonment issues from childhood, so I had to ask this guy. Now I'm asking neckbeards on Reddit for relationship advice, and please, 50% of people cheat at some point in their lives. We're all monkeys with shoes anyway. I need objective-based advice from mature people who have been in long-term relationships. I'm just trying to figure out if this girl is going to keep cheating, but I'm afraid I only got a Jed, and am outmatched by this woman's Jedi mental gymnastics abilities. I don't care that she tried to hook up with someone 2 months into us dating and 5 months into us dating. She's kind of a hoe, yes, but I'm from a trailer park and us poor people be effing more so as society starts to exponentially crumble. I just don't want to be lied to and cheated on. I don't care if she didn't take me seriously in the beginning. With all this said, the gist is I caught her lying about where she was a month ago. She apologized and tried to assure me she wasn't cheating but just wanted some time alone without repercussions. She has her own place which she never spends the night. I mean to say in 2 years she's spent every night with me but 2. She knows I would have left her long ago, so she goes to great lengths to spend every waking moment with me. Even when I try telling her I need my personal time as well, she gets afraid I'll just leave her, so she never leaves, except for this one day that she lied about where she came home reeking of nervous sweat. A month ago, it reminded me of the old days, which is why I asked this cat at work if he ever hooked up with her. But then again, I have abandonment issues, so who the F knows? But help me, Reddit, please help me. Am I just in a hole? As I'm not rich, she actually pays for more SHT than I do because her parents are rich, which is why she has her own apartment that she never goes to but lives with me. Also, her parents won't let her live in the ghetto where I live. Supposedly, reader comment, you need to dump her or open your relationship, but she's not gonna stop trying to cheat on you, and her being with you every single day is a tactic she's using to make sure you stay with her. If you can't go without her panicking you're gonna leave me, she's up to no good. I would say typically when that happens it's due to people's abandonment issues, but since she's lied to you on multiple occasions and has tried to cheat, she's just trying to make sure you stay in your place. Story 2. Almost 1 year past D-Day, I recently asked my wife further unnecessary details and I think I made a mistake. I'm using a throwaway for obvious reasons, but I've been a lurker since I found out last year in May. I'll give a brief background. I am 31, wife is 33, and we've been married for 3 years but been together for 5 years. Last year in May she told me she needed to talk, and she had revealed she had been seeing a guy who she met through her friend, but promised she didn't see him for a month, although didn't officially end it as in tell him it's over. They just didn't text or even talk much even while she was seeing him. This part has always somewhat disgusted me the most. After meeting him, they exchanged numbers. That was in December. In January of last year, she went to his place. They didn't do anything but casually hang out and talk, but she was only had about 45 minutes before she had to go. She went over about a month later in Feb, and that's when they had sex. Not once but 4 times, and she left after 2 hours. She met him a total of 5 or 6 times, and aside from the first time they only texted to make plans, and she only went over to have sex. She said she had no feelings for him. I of course didn't find this all out at once, cause when she told me she had cheated and I knew it was more than once, I was devastated. So much so that I packed some things and stayed at my parents' for 2 weeks, which we only communicated through text as I wouldn't answer her calls, but she sent me endless apologies and love-filled texts. The AP was single guy, 26, and him being younger for some reason bothered me a lot more. Anyway, fast forward through the ups and downs to this year. I just couldn't help but wonder if the guy was bigger than me size-wise. It's a question that always pondered and haunted me, but I decided it didn't matter because she would have done it regardless of his size. But I couldn't help but ask, which I did beginning of this month. I asked through text when I was visiting my parents, as it was such an odd, embarrassing question. The answer wasn't good. She replied honestly, when it comes to girth, yes, he is thicker, but that doesn't mean it was better because I was in pain. She then replied, trust me, it wasn't fun. I wanted to scream. I'm supposed to believe it wasn't fun when she drove 45 minutes to his place, had sex multiple times for a couple hours just to leave again, yet she said it wasn't fun. I had promised I wouldn't be upset by the answer, so I didn't reply or show any anger about this yet. But it is honestly tormenting me. I hate the fact that the AP got to have these experiences with my wife, then just carry on with life, while here I am left feeling devastated, humiliated, and disgusted, and me and her are going to have this stain in our marriage forever. The guy also had no class, didn't even take her out or feed her, and she would always need to stop to eat on the way home. Not that I would have preferred them being any more involved, but the fact it was just sex with a guy she didn't even really know or even talk much with is so gross. She has been so honest about everything, but I feel if there was one lie which would only help things, this would have been the time to lie. She could have said no, he was smaller, and I'd never know the truth, and it would have given me some dignity back. Reader comment, you are reasonably angry, Opus, because it was a clear lie, and not even an original or plausible lie, but the same lie most WWs use. Some variation of it was not enjoyable. I didn't like it. The same kind of derivative BS. I have yet to hear any of them straight up say, I was more attracted to AP and got greater physical satisfaction from him. At that point the damage is already done. But for some reason they think lying to their BP is going to make them less disgusted with them. Original poster, exactly. I just wish she would admit what has become the obvious. It would be like getting hit by a train, but I would probably be in a much better place right now had she did that in the beginning. It's like I am finally coming to that realization, but even now if I sat her down and told her I know you enjoyed sex with him more, she would deny it and say she feels more intimate with me. Which she may feel more intimate with me, but it's clear whatever she had with him, the lust, thrill, or whatever the F, it may not have meant much, but it's clear it was more intense or enjoyable. Sure, love may win in the end, but nothing will take that away. Reader comment, has she cut her friend out of her life who was complicit in the affair also? Original poster, I actually talked a lot with her friend over text about it, and at first, I was furious. I don't consider her friend complicit. Her friend was single and had friends of both genders. It was the sole responsibility of my wife to stay loyal, and her friend shouldn't need to babysit her or keep her separated from her single guy friend. Her friend didn't encourage anything, and it was entirely their doing. I admit I hate the fact her friend brought him along. It was the beginning of bad news to come, but as much as I may have blamed her in the past, I realize it's not really on her and she didn't think they would mess around. Besides, her friend isn't friends with him anymore, so I don't have to worry about that angle of it. Reader comment, it's not so much she brought him along as we'll all have friends. It's that at what point did she know and not tell you? If you aren't a friend of the marriage, you can't be friends. I'm not saying the friend brought him along to set your wife up, but if she knew anything, she has a responsibility to tell you. Original poster, I agree in theory. In reality, how many times is that actually the case? Would my best friend tell my wife if he knew I cheated on her? I would say it's extremely unlikely. I think most people would rather stay away from that kind of drama, and I can't really blame them. Story 3, partner of 7 years cheated. I'm really new to this, guy, so sorry for not using all the acronyms. I'm a 37-year-old guy who's been with his 33-year-old girlfriend for 7 years. We met over Bumble. She was the first date I ever went on using a dating app, and it was awesome. We grew together. I moved to London to be closer to her, changed jobs to do the same. We bought a dog together and eventually bought a flat together in North London. Our lives were perfect, and I assumed we were steadily building our lives together. I would have easily asked her to marry me. In July 2022, after weeks of my gut instinct telling me something was wrong, I snooped on her phone and discovered that she had been sleeping with her work colleague for the last 20 months. At that time, it equated to 25% of our entire relationship. She had been using the fact that I worked 12-hour shifts to her advantage, whether day or night, weekday or weekend. Whenever I was at work, she frequently arranged to go see this colleague who, conveniently for her, lived only 500 meters away. I cried for days and didn't eat or sleep for that same period. We went through a week of disclosure which was cathartic as hell but incredibly brutal. She became very disconnected from the emotion, which was odd but gave me bare truths. How often, how much better, how much bigger, etc. I even had access to their entire WhatsApp conversation. Simply the worst. I found out that she loved the other guy, did far more sexually adventurous stuff with him. Described their sex as better and far worse. That all said, however, she said that she stated from the outset that she'd never leave me for him and still loved me. In a moment of decision despair about what options I decided to try reconciliation. I tailored my language to be non-insulting. I chose not to tell my family and calmly carried on. I bought a ton of books off Amazon to do with infidelity, books to do with moving on, books to do with staying, books from the cheater's point of view, and books that even consider that affair partner's point of view. Christ, this post is getting long. Okay, so I had a frank discussion with my girlfriend and relayed the rules of our continued relationship and what we would consider cheating. Cease all contact. Tell me about future contact. She offered open phone access and a few more tactics. Then in November 2022, after seeing a goddamn TikTok video, I learned about deleted iMessages and used that in open phone access to find that she had not ceased contact at all with the other guy. She explained that away, and once again Chump here carried on. Then in early Jan 2023, I found yet another deleted iMessage to the other guy. Again, she tried to explain it away, but ultimately, regardless of physical contact or not, it was now a breach of our agreed no contact rule. She had tried to keep it secret by moving comms onto her work phone. She had tried to delete messages, and she had not mentioned any of this to me. But once again, Chump here carried on. Then yesterday I found call log data that showed that she had once again contacted the other guy. I confronted her and she admitted it once again, but this time I fled the house and gone to a friend's house. I'm writing this from a sofa bed of a 4-child house. I'm deeply afraid of what's next. I know what I have to do, but I just know if I have the strength to do it. I love this girl and my soul yearns for her. TLDR, girlfriend of 7 years cheated on me. I tried reconciliation, reset our boundaries, and got cheated again a further 3 times, which I discovered personally. I'm devastated and lost and have no idea what to do. Reader comment, you don't realize this yet, but you are being abused. Yes, abused. Cheating is abuse, and primarily emotional abuse, as I am certain you can tell from that sinking, nauseous feeling you get in your stomach every time you think about what she has done. Did you know that the emotional upheaval caused by cheating is so profound that it is possible you will never have a healthy, trusting relationship for the rest of your life? For the rest of your life, cheating causes PTSD so frequently that the therapeutic community has given it a category of its own. It's called PISD, post-infidelity stress disorder. One last thing for you to chew on while you are deciding if you should give her yet another chance to screw you over. Your partner knew, before she ever cheated, that if she screwed the neighbor and you found out, you would be destroyed. Let me say that again. She knew before she did it, that you would be grossly harmed by her actions. And she did it anyway. She not only did it on purpose, but she did also it with knowledge beforehand it would harm you. Does this sound like the actions of someone who loves you? It's time you stopped giving her chances to hurt you again. Personally, I think you should start throwing some kitchen hardware at her mangled picture. Stop contacting her. If she contacts you, tell her to F off. Put your SHT together and move back to your family. It's time she started paying the price for her abuse. Reader comment, dude, have some self-respect for yourself. She has none for you and she knows you don't have any, that's why she keeps doing it. She knows she can just F whoever she wants and you're not gonna do anything about it for your own self. Please cut her off and go no contact. Reader comment, please get it together. She does not respect you. You should not be loving someone that clearly doesn't value or respect you. You gave her multiple chances and she blew it multiple times. Actions have consequences and she has faced no consequences from her actions since you took her back on multiple occasions, which is why she continues to be hurting and cheating on you. You already left, which shows you have the strength. Just make sure it's permanent and remove her from her life. You deserve better.